justice for all, rise and never fall. Tell them, say, boom, what they gonna do when enough of them not true? Say what they gonna do, them get slew, yeah. Who do you think you are? We're living in a small world. As wicked as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As bad as you think you are, we're living in a small world. As tough as you think you are, we're living in the one on them. Alright, that day will come when I stand and see all those wicked.
I must read from books instead of from nature. I must learn of the birds and the animals and the trees from books instead of from daily contact with them. This is what the white man said I should do, and I could do nothing but obey.
A great general has said that the only good Indian is a dead one. And that high sanction of his destruction has been an enormous factor in promoting Indian massacres. In a sense, I agree with the sentiment, but only in this, that all the Indian there is in the race should be dead. Kill the Indian in him and save the man.
I remember being dragged out, though I resisted by kicking and scratching wildly. I was carried downstairs and tied fast in a chair. I cried aloud, shaking my head all the while until I felt the cold blades of the scissors against my neck. In my anguish, I moaned for my mother, but no one came to comfort me.
We all had to go by the names that had been given to us, but among ourselves, we would still call each other by our Indian names. Students at the school were not allowed to speak the language of the Indians. At the time, I understood nothing else.
Lineups at 7 a.m. in the basement. 300 of us kids going for breakfast. Our dining hall matron is Mrs. Lucille Blight. She controls us with a bell. 3 quick rings and we all stand frozen at attention. Our teacher reads us fairy tales and stories like Little Red Riding Hood and rhymes like Jack and Jill and the Little Miss Muffet. That Little Miss Muffet confuses us. Sitting on her tuffet eating curds and whey doesn't make sense.
We learned to sew clothing. We cooked, washed dishes, scrubbed floors, and washed windows. We were detailed to work in the laundry and do all the washing for the school, the hospital, and the sanitarium. I have never forgotten how the steam in the laundry made me sick. By evening, I was too tired to play and just fell asleep wherever I sat down. I think this is why the boys and girls ran away from school, why some became ill, why it was so hard to learn. We were too tired to study.
The dormitory was a huge room with rows and rows of beds. A boy at one end would begin quietly crying. Maybe he was crying because he was homesick. Maybe he was crying because he'd been beat up. Boys on either side of him would tell him to quit crying. When he wouldn't stop, they'd be reminded how homesick they were and began crying too. We could hear the wave of crying start at one end of the dormitory, come traveling down until the boy in the next bed was crying and I was sobbing too. After a night like that, we all got up and pretended like it didn't happen. But it did.